I want to bring in the co-host of the Tim Jones and Christopher Arps show on News Talk St. Louis 101.9 and 94.1, Christopher Arps. Christopher, that was an impressive turnout. Do you think that Christians in this country are going to stop getting kicked by the left now? You think that this is starting a new trend?
I don't. I mean, when the Los Angeles Dodgers believe that it's heroic to give a group that mocks the Catholic Church and Christianity an award, then I think all that does is embolden them, and that we'll see more of this type of mockery in the future. I mean, this makes absolutely no sense. We saw what happened with Bud Light, which alienated an important part of their constituency. You see the Dodgers. I'm sure Hispanic Catholics are a big part of their fan base. And to do this just astounds me, Tom.
Yeah, I can't imagine, Christopher, if this group was mocking Muslims, that they would be getting this award. But as we've seen, Christians and their values have taken a lot of abuse from Democrats on the left for decades. Were you surprised that the Dodgers, after inviting these folks, uninviting them, re-invited them and actually followed through with this?
No, I'm not, because we've seen the power of the LGBTQ mafia. They hold a lot of sway. They donate a lot of money to campaigns, and they have the media that's behind them. And of course, when they were disinvited, they switched this around to make it seem like corporations were moving away from inclusivity, and so they were pressured basically to re-invite them. But I think this is a very bad decision for baseball, for the Dodgers, and just for our whole community at large, that people's religious beliefs can be openly mocked and celebrated by a major sports franchise.
Yeah. Christopher, I want to pivot on you here because I've been wanting to talk to you about this for some time. I wanted to get your reaction to polling that's come out recently that suggests that President Biden is losing support with black voters. What are you hearing from your radio listeners and from those around your community specifically about that? Because if the black community in this country starts to pivot the way that the Latino community has, and being more open-minded toward voting for Republicans, it's a political earthquake in this country.
Tom, we've seen recent polls that show that President Biden's approval among African Americans has hovered between 60 and 70%. That's horrible when it comes to a Democratic president with African Americans. Usually it's in the 90% level. And what I'm hearing from folks is that African Americans are disappointed. They feel that the Democrats' agenda is not particularly focused on them. They see issues that are important to them, such as voting rights, student loan debt forgiveness, and issues like that being ignored, while illegal immigrants seem to get free passes into the United States. The LGBT community is front and center. And so they're feeling like they've been ignored. They've been a big part of the Democratic Party for years, and they don't feel that they are getting their just desserts.
Do you feel, and we saw some protests about this in Chicago recently, where members of the black community were coming out and they were protesting the fact that illegal immigrants were being resettled into their neighborhoods. Is there a sense in the black community that perhaps Democrats are trying to replace them and encroaching on their neighborhoods, encroaching on their communities with this open border policy?
I've said that for years. A few years ago, the Hispanic community became the largest minority in this country. African Americans in New York City, African American women a few years ago had more abortions than live births. So the African American population is not growing as well. You look at the crime statistics, the CDC said that the #1 cause of death for African Americans in this country is homicide between the ages of 17 and 35. So we're losing population, and I don't think it's out of the question to think that the importation of illegal immigrants into this country is to make up for that dwindling voter block there. Mm-hmm. Now, Tom, I'm also president of Americans for Citizen Voting, which we focus on changing state constitutions to not allow non-citizens to vote. And we've done polling on this issue, and it shows that across the board, African Americans, Hispanics, Democrats, Republicans are against allowing non-citizens to vote.
Yeah.
And I think African Americans see that as them being replaced in that context.
Yeah, you know, I think that that's going to be another big issue that's going to crop up, particularly in blue states over these next few years. Once these folks get in, that they will try to give them the ability to vote in state and local elections. Thank you for your insights on that, Christopher. Christopher Arps, appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Tom, thank you. Appreciate it.